Welcome to CTN Sports Fall Sports Preview Show. I'm your host, Kevin Bryant. On today's show, we'll take a sneak peek at some of the area's varsity football programs, from Pioneer's Jari Brown to meeting the new coaches, Andy Sorget's at Skyline and Huron's Dan Novak. But up first, the Skyline water polo team. Changes in the water for Coach Rebecca Godek's team. Gone are 10 seniors from last year's state championship squad. And although this year's team may be lacking experience, their goals remain the same.
Ten seniors is obviously huge. It's a massive number, and a lot of them had been playing since even before high school. We had a couple of those guys were first team All-State, big names within the water polo community. But in a way, it's really exciting because we have so many spaces now for those youngsters to fill. Even guys that were maybe playing JV last year, kind of maybe freaking out a little bit about being varsity, but I think saying, hey, listen, the door is now open for you. And kind of like I was saying with the challenging sets, test your limits, see what you can do. Last year they were maybe used to being in the background and saying, all right, I can take a step back and let James Rosipal or Ryan Vandermeulen handle this and I'll give him the ball. But this year, they're not able to do that. They're going to have to be the ones stepping up. They're going to have to be the ones that are confident with the ball and make things happen. I think always, if you want to win a state championship, that's always the end goal. However, we know that our road to get there might look a little different, and that's fine.
As the defending state champs, Coach Godek is developing her squad into her mode, helping them to understand that time is of the essence, and they are now the hunted ones.
It's great that we won a championship last year. It was the best feeling in the world, but that's over and done with. It's a new year. So it's all about, remembering all the strengths that we had, how cool that was, but no, it's focus time. We started last Wednesday with a training trip at Calvin College, and from that moment, I drilled in her head, we have to be in the now. We have 3 months basically to show everyone that, hey, sure, we graduate a lot of seniors, but look at all this opportunity for new players to step in and fill those roles. And, we've got the targets on our back this year. And that's a position, that we've never been in. This is only the basically 7th year that this team has even existed. So we're still very, very new, and we've been very successful. So it's been fun, but now we're in a different boat than we've been in.
As head coach of the boys and girls teams, Coach Godek trains each team individually to reach their own untapped potential. It's a challenge she relishes.
I think to a certain extent, I push them different mentally. I think that, they realize that when they put their minds to something, I think myself as a female coach, challenging them is something that they're kind of not used to from being a youngster and not a parent perspective. I have challenging sets for them where I say, hey, this is what we're doing, and they're like, oh my gosh, we can't do this. And I'm like, yes, you can, and you will do it. And then they surprise themselves. A lot of times it's kind of like test sets with swimming or water polo test sets of some sort. But I remember last year specifically, I gave them a set and they literally laughed at me. They were like, why do you even think you're gonna do this? And I was like, I just want you guys to give your best, and they did it. And afterwards, I kind of sat them down, and it was a great learning lesson for them. Don't ever doubt yourself, don't ever doubt your teammates, and you guys, can surprise yourself if you really do go 100% or 110%. It's very different coaching girls and boys, but I obviously enjoy both of them. This is my 7th year with the boys. 3rd year as head coach. I was the assistant for a few years before, but it's always lively. They're very different personalities. I definitely do coach them in different ways, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's exciting.
The cupboards aren't totally empty, with several key returning players, including the top goalie in the state, Dungan Kennedy.
Probably our big names this year, Wilson Knoll, he's a junior, he's a captain. This actually returning state MVP, Mateo Prokop, who's also a junior. Duncan Kennedy, that's a huge plus for us to have him back. As a freshman, he actually tried field. And we were like, he's kind of tall, lanky, let's throw him in goal, and he has just blown everyone away. He's honestly the difference maker. We can have, good games, bad games as field players, and we might not have the best game as shooters and defenders, but then Duncan somehow saves us every game. So that's having those two guys back plus Duncan, it's kind of a triple threat again, so that's cool.
While aware of the pressure to repeat, Coach Godek will gauge her team's progress with a different measuring stick.
I'm not worried about going undefeated. I'm not worried about being ranked #1 all season. I'm worried about us every single game progressing as a team and everyone refining their individual skills. Because that's what's going to happen. Right now, frankly, nothing matters. What matters is 2 months down the road, and that's what we care about. So the road we take, again, might be different, but sure, we want to be district champions. We want to be regional champions. I'd love to win another state championship, but we'll see.
Catch up on FYI and other CTN programs at a2gov.org/watchctn.
Now you can follow CTN on Facebook and Twitter. Yay! Keep up with what viewers and producers like you are saying and doing, and see when upcoming workshop classes will take place. CTN.9.
I wanna go running.
But my stumpy arms are best suited for browsing a2gov.org/CTN. For real, check us out at a2gov.org/CTN.
Okay, Bob, we got it.
Good things come to those who wait. Be patient. Those are things we learned growing up. Well, the Huron football team, they've been patient. Huron's administration began their search for their new coach back in November, but didn't settle on their man until early June, not leaving a lot of time to prepare for the season. Coach Dan Novak won't allow his staff to use the lack of time as an excuse. He's ready to tackle this new season and lift up this program. That's the type of leadership Huron has been waiting for.
When Dottie and I started talking this year, and I just felt it was the right fit and the right time. I've had the opportunity to work under great head coaches with Bob Schalowski and Pat Fox and Bob Meyer, and all of them I've learned a ton from, and so I might not have been the overall head coach of the program, but they've all kind of groomed me and taught me the administration roles and different ways to handle situations, and so I've learned from them, and I've been the head coach of the defense or the head coach of the offense, so I've been the head coach of a certain side of the ball. And like I said, as far as dealing with the different administration roles and stuff, they've all kind of groomed me, and very excited to be here, and I've been wanting it forever. So I just wanted the right fit, and I feel that this is the right fit for me.
Scrambling to assemble his new staff, Coach Novak turned to his past in hiring his former high school coach, Michigan coaching legend Bob Schalowski. He'll run the Rats offense.
He is outstanding. This will be his 50th year of coaching. And he retired from being a head coach a handful of years ago, and he retired from teaching in the education. And he helped me out a little bit at Wall Lake Central as a volunteer coach, just coming around and helping out. And then when I got the head job there, he said that he was in and was going to coach full time with me. So it's a great opportunity to have his experience to lean on and to just use his ability and his knowledge is excellent. And he's retired, and he's in the Coaching Hall of Fame for the Michigan High School Football Coaches Association, and he's a huge asset to have around the program, and we're very fortunate to have him.
For most coaches, They use their off seasons to prepare their teams for season play. But for new head coach Novak, he had to spend his summer getting to know who his players were.
They're all good kids, self-motivated, very hard-working kids, and it's a lot of fun, and it's great to see them bond together and get to know our coaches. And end of our camp in July there, we were all kind of talking as a group, and I really felt we were really connecting at that point too, between the players and the coaches, the new coaching staff and myself. And I had a few kids and coaches say, you know, love you guys and that, and we're really, it's coming together. We're getting to be a nice close-knit group.
A real believer in the overall principles of the sport and what it can teach you, Coach Novak hopes to inspire his players to reach their goals this season and in life.
Our senior class are hungry to make the change, to get things going in the right direction. They're working hard. They're great young men, and then going all the way from ninth grade through 11th grade as well. They've really bought in. They're hitting all of our platoon workouts, doing everything. I've had the kids up to my house there for a pool party and a barbecue. So we've done different functions to bond with the team as a staff and get to know each other as coaches and as players. I'm trying to build confidence in them and you know, teach them that we're going to face adversity. We kind of use the metaphor of football as with life. You're going to, adversity is things going to hop up. We're going to have a turnover. A team's going to score. How do we respond to that? One of the sayings I have is good play, bad play, next play. So if we do a good play, great. Celebrate with your teammates, get back in the huddle. We have more football to go. If we make a mistake, don't get down, put your head up. All right, shake it over. That play's done. Don't let that mistake turn into several mistakes. And one of our themes that we have is attack. We want to attack everything. Attack academics, attack adversity, attack conditioning, attack plays, attack the heat this week. Whatever it is, we want to attack and we want to become mentally and physically tougher.
The Rats will be led by a deep senior class, which includes their starting quarterback, Roderick Smith Jr., which has Coach Novak excited.
We got a huge group, about 15, 17 seniors. On the offensive side of the ball, Roderick Smith Jr., quarterback coming back, is a great senior, doing a nice job. We have Marquise Johnson coming back. Ahmed Samaha there is a great lineman there on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. And Miles Young is doing a nice job as well too. So those are a handful of the kids. We said pretty much that whole senior class is they're hungry and they're working hard. So I'm excited about all of them.
Stay awesome, Ann Arbor.
Expectations are high for this year's Eagles squad, with D1 commitments like receiver Hunter Rison and linebackers Chuck Jones and Trayshawn Hayward. They have experience at the quarterback position, plus a solid offensive line and a fairly easy schedule. You start to add all that together, and you can begin to understand why first-year head coach Andy Sorgetz likes his chances for bringing home the program's first winning season.
I firmly believe, and that's our goal, is to have the best season in school history. We talk about it that obviously it's 1 week at a time. We want to go 1-0 every single week, but we have that in our minds that we want to be the first school or the first team in Skyline history to make the playoffs. That's big for us. That's very important. Just so you can leave a legacy. For the players, leave a legacy when you leave here, that you did something, you impacted this program in a way that no one else has since they've been here.
Having spent his entire playing and coaching career as a lineman, Coach Sorgetz is still getting used to all his new responsibilities as head coach.
Administratively wise, I got a lot more responsibilities that way. Budget type deal, you know, everything that comes with the interviews like this, you know, being an offensive lineman in Eastern, I never got interviewed, and O-line coach, you don't get interviewed much. So this is also a new experience for me. Just a lot more responsibility. And you have to realize as the head coach, yes, I'm an offensive line guy, and yes, I want the offense to succeed, but I can't disregard the defensive side of the ball too, which is something that I've had to work on, you know, because I'm always O-line, let's go, you know, it's whatever they do is what I want, but you have to actually have a balance out, and you have to pay respects to the defense and give them the credit they deserve.
A no-nonsense type of coach, there will be some immediate and noticeable differences with the Eagles' style of play this season.
Discipline is going to be our first and foremost thing. We're going to be a much more disciplined team than we have in the past. We're going to be more physical, and we have been somewhat physical, but not all the time. We're going to be much more physical, and we're going to run the football, and we're going to stop the run. In order to be a successful football team, you have to be able to run the football, and you have to be able to stop the run. If you can't do that, you're in a lot of trouble. So I want the team to have almost the O-lineman's mentality, that just relentlessness. We're going to keep going. We're going to play together, which is huge. I think in the past we haven't been as close as a team as I would like us to be.
One of the most heralded players in Skyline's history will return at wideout and defensive back for the Eagles. Senior Hunter Rison, and this season could be his best yet.
He really is a good kid. He practices well. He cares for his teammates too, which is huge. He's always showing the O-line love, which I think is fantastic, because he knows himself, without them, he's not going to be able to get a ball. But his mentality on the field is something that impresses me a lot. He doesn't back down to anybody. He's always up for the challenge, and he looks at it as he's the best player on the football field when he plays in the game. And I think that's huge. I think players have confidence in him, and that confidence builds confidence in themselves. Just seeing him out there, knowing that we have Hunter Rison on our team, that just makes that elevates everyone's play around him too, which I think is huge. That's what good players do, is they elevate the players around them. They elevate their play. So he's a pleasure to coach, and I expect big things. I know he had a good year last year, but it's going to be even better this year. I know that.
Junior Darren Davis will be at the QB position again for the Eagles. He played as a sophomore, but is now more comfortable at running the Eagles' attack.
He's done a great job with, especially his pocket presence. It used to be he gets rushed and he doesn't step up, he doesn't move, he just escapes right away. Now he's able to step up, make his reads, and deliver a good pass. That's the biggest thing I've seen in him, is just the pocket presence, and just the kids know they can depend on him to do his job, which I think is huge too. As a younger player, it's tough. You know, as a sophomore, it's tough to come in a varsity game halfway through the season and be successful. But I think being another year in the program, and another year making his reads and just feeling out the game, and I think experience is the biggest thing for him too. The more experience he gets, he's going to be better.
After years of long road trips, the schedule this season will have plenty of games held in Washtenaw County.
And it's about time. Last year we went out to Monroe and we went out to Bedford, so it'll be good to have those guys back at our place too. It's definitely, travel-wise, it's good for us. Our farthest game I think we go to besides Ohio is Okemos, so that's about an hour away. That'll be our farthest game. But other than that, we got it's good travel times for us as far as traveling distance, or the teams that are farther away, they're all coming to us. So that'll be big for our team too, just to play, just, you know, having that long bus ride, you don't know the mindset of what the kids are going to be after that long bus ride. So having those teams here at home is going to be huge for us.
No matter what the final outcome for the Eagles, Coach Sorgitz will keep his team focused on what they can ultimately control themselves.
We know what we can do here, and we focus on what we can do here. It's not about the other teams, it's about what we do. We got to get ourselves right first. Expectations is that we're going to have a good year. I'm not one to make predictions. I'm not one to, I'm just not big into that. We're going to take it 1 week at a time, 1 game at a time, 1 practice at a time, and we're going to get better. I want, by the time season ends, we're at our tipping point where we're ready to rock and roll, and I want to get better throughout the season. The good teams improve throughout the season. As we get into October and late October, I want us to only be getting better and better. So my expectations is for us just to be a physical team for the year, fast, and we're going to be relentless in what we do this year. No matter the outcome, we will be relentless in what we do this year, and that's something I'm excited for.
Welcome back to CTN Sports. Pioneer is led by fourth-year head coach Jari Brown. His team has increased their win total each year, and this year it boasts some of the best talent in the state, including senior stud linebacker Antoine Simmons, who's already committed to play for the Ohio State Buckeyes next year. Coach Brown knows that for his team to reach their ultimate goal, there's still some work to put in.
You know, we're starting to form and become the team that, you know, we think that they can be. And we talk to our guys a lot about talent. You know, obviously we're very talented across the board in the skill positions. But our biggest thing and our biggest focus right now is just gelling together as a team, holding each other accountable, and taking care of each other on the field, because as coaches, we can't be on the field on Friday nights. But I'm starting to see some good leadership from some seniors, and that's really starting to come come to play. And I think once they start to really realize that and embrace that, I think we'll become the team that I think we can be, and we can be a pretty good one.
A player that Coach Brown is excited to watch will be senior athlete Cedric Benton. Brown has big plans for his multi-talented game breaker.
He is an unbelievable talent. He's a kid that's, I think for college coaches, he's kind of on the radar. I think a lot of guys like what he brings to the table. But he's a kid that is probably one of the most versatile players on our team. I mean, if you look back and you watch our last game versus when we played Saline last year, he was by far the best player on the field. For a guy to, almost take a punt return or kickoff return to the house, he threw a 40-yard pass almost for a touchdown. He had an interception. He had a couple key receptions on 3rd down and 4th down. And that's, and he's a kid that, we're going to use quite extensively. You'll see him at different positions on the field, on the offensive side of the ball. And we feel like we look back, we underutilized him last year.
The biggest difference maker, again, on both sides of the ball will be Antoine Simmons. The running back linebacker is a true generational type of baller.
He's a pleasure to be around. He's, we were talking yesterday, he's just one of those kids that you don't run across too much in your lifetime. And it's just, we're just kind of just enjoying the time that we have. He's a fun kid to be around. He likes to have fun, but then, when it's time to work, he works. So just, his understanding of the game, and just, you talk X's and O's with him, and if you were able to, you're able to sit down with him and do some X's and O's, you'd be blown away, because he could be a coach on the field.
A flip from last year's team, the Pioneers this season will lean on the depth of their experience and bruising defensive unit.
We look at this year's team, we're heavy on offense last year, we're returning starters. It's a contrast this year. Now on defense, we have a lot of starters returning, with 8 starters returning on defense. On the offensive side of the ball, we only have 1 offensive lineman returning from last year's group, and they were senior heavy. We like our skill positions on that side of the ball because we have all of our running backs coming back, except for one. We lost Terrius Wheatley. Well, we got Antoine Simmons back. We got Jamel Powell, who was our second leading rusher, back. We got Dexter Farrell, a kid who really didn't run the ball last year, who probably should have, but we were so deep at the running back position, we just had him focus on the defensive side of the ball. But now we're starting to prepare him to be the guy, be a guy that can definitely be in a rotation and then be one of our top running backs next year as a senior. Defensively, we feel really good about our defensive side of the ball. We're returning 3 out of the 4 starters on the defensive side, on the defensive line. At the linebacker position, all those guys are returning. And then at the secondary position, we have Jordan Harris, who's going to convert from corner to safety. He can still play a little bit, but we're going to play him at safety right now. We really like the progress and the growth that he's made at the safety position. And then we have a young man in Lyell Anafade. He's going to play a little bit of cornerback. And then we have Jamel Powell also playing cornerback, and then Cedric Benton returning at that position. So we're real deep on the defense side of the ball. They're very aggressive. They like to hit. They pursue the football. And we feel really good about that group.
Well, that'll do it for our show. Thanks for watching. Remember, you can see all your favorite high school sports action at our YouTube channel, CTN Ann Arbor. And be sure to watch our CTN Game of the Week on Comcast Channel 19. For CTN Sports, I'm Kevin Bryant.